Well, I'm pleased to be joined now by Greg Buchanan as the CPCA will be back on the track tonight, Wednesday night at Onion Lake. Greg, thanks for taking this time and joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, like I said, going back onto the track, second weekend of action for the 2021 season here, Bucky. And I mean, obviously, they have that week now under their belt, kicking off some of the rust. Do you think we will be seeing different from these drivers and horses on the track here?
Yeah, I think the guys that had great weekends in Palmaker, BJ Carey, Ryan Baptiste, Logan Gorse, and I did Danny Ringett. You'll see them continue to do what they were doing, but you're going to see bounce backs from a few. You're going to see a bounce back from the 2019 CPCA champion Todd Baptiste, who had a rare 4 days that you haven't really seen Todd have for a few years, and that is around 20th in the show standings, and that's a rarity for Todd. So look for him to bounce back. You look at maybe a Luke Tournier, who's a guy that came back from the WPCA to the CPCA, a two-time Calgary Stampede champion. Look for him to bounce back as well. Jamie Labicane had a couple of barrels go down for him, as well as in Poundmaker. Look for him for a bounce back. So there's a lot of drivers with bounce backs, and also we mentioned last time we talked about the 6 rookie drivers, 7 in all in the CPCA this year. So almost to a point where there's nerves, there's excitement, and you almost want to get that first show out of the way and go forward. So now they have that first show out of their way. Now let's get to business, and they got 5 days in Onion Lake beginning tonight.
And Greg, maybe even just adding to those nerves, obviously a 2020 season where, very limited time on that track, just adding to build on to some of those nerves there. Now, obviously right now it is a scorcher out. It's going to be a humid one, and just continuing on throughout the week and into the weekend. Bucky, do you think this will affect the races at all here coming forward?
No, I don't think it will. It probably affects more the drivers and the outriders. The horses are very well cared for. They have electrolytes. They'll get into them before the races. After the races, they get cooled down. They'll have fans. They'll be in the shade, and they're really well cared for before, after the races, and even during the races as they're waiting to get on the track. So these horses, some of them you have to realize aren't from this area. Many of them aren't. Many of them come from Turf Paradise, which is a track in Phoenix, Arizona, and they come off tracks in Florida. They come off tracks in California, in places where this is pretty normal. So they're going to come here, and I know some of them have been here for a number of years, so it would be a bit of an adjustment. But some of them were born and raised in areas just as hot or hotter. So.
Now, Bucky, final question here moving forward before the 5-day event coming up. Who do you like for chances at winning this upcoming weekend?
Well, you look, like I mentioned, the guy off the top is for a bounce back. Look for a Todd Baptiste to, they're going to have a dash. So they're going to have 5 days of racing. The top 4 after Saturday night will be in that dash for cash on Sunday in Onion Lake. And I like Todd Baptiste to be in that dash because he'll have a bounce back. But you can't count out the guys that looked really good. And that's BJ Carey and Logan Gorse. Look for them to, not skip a beat to what they did in Poundmaker. Look for BJ to be there. Look for Logan to be there. And you could have 2 Baptiste brothers battling for a top 4 spot there. And Danny Ringett is another driver that we didn't talk about, but he cracked that top 4 in Poundmaker. He'll be in that final dash in Onion Lake as the top 4 drivers in the association. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see how the heat and, may play a factor, may not play a factor, but we go from 3 wagons on the track in Poundmaker to a 4-wagon setup here, a 4-barrel setup here. So a bigger track, a lot more room on the track, and it'll be interesting to see. But I like to see Todd Baptiste with a bounce back here this week in Onion Lake.
Bucky, I'm going to go with a guy who you also said in the bounce back category in Jamie Labicane. Obviously, we all know he's a fantastic driver, finishing just outside of the dash at the CPCA championship in 2019. And last weekend, he had some good running times, but like you said, got into a little bit of penalty troubles. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, him back in that dash coming forward this weekend. Bucky, should be a very exciting weekend. 5 days of excitement coming up here in Onion Lake. Thanks for taking this time and joining me.
Thanks a lot, Evan.